guys and ghouls, so I thought I'd do a quick update on my baby snail and the snails that I rescued. I've just come back to Mike's to get a matte stat and a heat mat for the baby snail. This is to go in his TERRA, and the bigger TERRA I'm going to take home. It's the same sort of size as Jim's one, but just a bit taller. Same kind of half of that, but yeah, there's Jim. So that will definitely be big enough for snails. I've just gone and bought some topsoil to go into the snails one, but their vivarium is going to be kept on the top of my bearded dragon vivarium at my house, so it won't necessarily need a heat mat, I don't think, because the temperature will already be high enough because of the heat that comes out the top of my dragon's vivarium, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to monitor them. They're actually okay at room temperature, the African land snails, when they are adult size, but it's good to keep them slightly warmer than what it is in England, so I'm just going to monitor them. But for the baby snail, it's going to be completely imperative he's kept at the right temperature, hence why I've got a matte stat. Here's Jeff. Looking cute. Enjoy. You're so cute. I officially had to pack up my first box when we move house of my Halloween decorations that are on here, which is just genuinely like the saddest thing ever. All I've left on here really is the snow globes, just because I feel like they're going to need to be transported really carefully. They're definitely going to need bubble wrap. I've left all my Joanna Parker stuff just because I love it. This goes because it makes me happy, this cat because it makes me really happy, this because it makes me super happy, and this guy because I've only just put him there. So it felt really silly packing him away already, and just some other Joanna bits. So yeah, I've got this whole space now on top of my Viv, probably the emptiest. You've seen that corner, but it now well, now revealed the fact that I have layers upon layers of Halloween stuff, because I have all of this back here, and if you look down there, it keeps going. It keeps going. I can't see if the camera's in focus anymore, but it keeps going all the way down there. Lots of snow globes and things hidden down there, and then there's more down there. Anyway, I've cleared off this first layer, so that we can put the big snails on there. I'm going to set up the vivarium today and then come back later in the week, check its temperatures and stuff before I move them in there. And then this is all packed up, ready, well, to go to our spare room. When we have a spare room, but it was going up in the roof for now. So Mike just bought this up for me. Didn't need to pack away as much stuff as I thought, but it means I can move some of this stuff up there, which is good. Or I have space for any new snow globes, which, anyway. So it's here. The only thing is the door doesn't fully open there, but it doesn't need to. I've given it good clean just now, just with some water and a cloth. So I'm going to put some topsoil in. I'm only going to put a small bit of topsoil in because I need to spread this out between through the rescue snails, my actual other 3 snails at school, and my baby snail. And also there's some really good bacteria that would generally be in the current soil, so this is just to give them a bit more digging space, but not to replace all of the soil. I have just discovered, as Mike's just discovered, that these holes here, usually on TERRAs, it goes all the way through and it's like breathable, but Mike said that this is an older version, hence why the clips on the top are slightly different as well, which just means that there's no air holes here, which actually doesn't matter because there's loads of air ventilation at the top, but it also means that it should keep in the humidity slightly better than a normal TERRA, so that's actually worked out better for us.
And it's probably quite easy to drill those holes through, since the front hole's already there, you're just making a hole through the back bit into the... Be safe. It's ideal as it is, then leave it as it is.
So look at my pothos. Do you like it?
It's something.
Do you mean it's something? There's lizards and skulls.
I mean, the pythos, amazing, like elegant.
Yeah.
The table, you know, cool, trendy,
painted.
hip.
Could be painted.
That is something.
That's nice.
But the pythos, lovely.
Well, it's a lizard. A reptile of some type. I'm not actually sure what type of lizard it's meant to be.
Something.
Thanks, Mike. Okay, so I used one of our mugs. This is a mug that Simply Spooky gave me, just to fill up with soil. It's just a topsoil that I got from the garden centre with no added jazz in it really. So I'm just gonna leave it there. You've got the heat lamp underneath, which is for my dragon who's hiding at the moment. I need to get him out. So that heat will rise, and usually it just rises up into the room, but hopefully now it will rise up into here, so that will save us having to have another heat mat. But I'm just gonna monitor it really. I'm gonna spray it with water now, and then when I come back see what humidity it's at and what temperature it's at, and just have a basically analyze how well it's done, and hopefully then it'll be suitable for the snail. So I'm just going to give it a spray now, get it all nice and moist, and then leave it, shut the doors, and then leave it for today. There is Dragon eating, he's fine. Tortoise has had a good snack. In here I've put 2 bits of wood from my tortoise's house. He just has loads of bits of wood hanging about, and I've put bit of greenery and a load of wood louse. You can't see them all, but there has to be about kind of 50 wood louse in here, just to start turning the soil and eating any dirt, you know, like poo or anything that's in there, so they can start their little colony ready for when the snails move in. Oh, good boy. So we are back home now, and got some supplies to sort out the other snails, and to plant some succulent thingies. Game's only on 1%, so I'm just going to quickly show you. I have this biosphere thing where the plants died because they got left on the windowsill and got a bit hot. So I've bought a replacement plant to go in there, and a couple of pothos which I'm going to plant in here. And then I'm going to put some more topsoil in my snail house with some live moss, and I'll show you that once I have planted these and hopefully charge my phone. While my phone was charging, I planted up these. This is like a pothos, and I think this is like a similar type of plant. They both seem to be ones that are going to grow and trail, so I just planted them together in this pot, which is the pot that massive pothos was in that I got last time I went to the garden centre. So hopefully they'll grow a bit bigger, and then once they're a good size I'll put them into another pot. But I'd love it if they could like integrate a bit, but we will see. I've also replanted this biosphere. Hopefully it is moist enough in there. So basically the idea with this is that it's self-maintenance, self-watering. So the water evaporates, goes to the top, then condensates, drips down, waters the plants, goes into the soil, comes back up, evaporates, and just keeps going in a cycle. And hopefully it should continue to do so like that. It came already sealed when I got it, so I don't know how much water it's meant to have in it. But then, as I said, my plants died because they were left on the windowsill and they just got too hot. So I've replanted it, re-watered it, and put this on. So I mean, hopefully it'll be okay, but if it starts looking a bit dry, maybe I will have to just manually water it. So now on to my baby snail. So this is what my baby snails are currently in. As you can see, it's just basically a miniature version of the one that I set up at my house. The main difference is these holes go all the way through, so there is lovely air ventilation going on in there. So the plan is basically to add a heat mat to this. I couldn't find a thermometer, so I'm going to have to buy one in a shop, but luckily I do have a mat stand. Take this outside. So I just take this outside just because I'm going to be using soil as well. He does have some bits of wood and things to climb on. The lids are really handy on these because you can just twist them open, and then they do have this which reveals holes for you to put cables through. So if I open this up, I'm just going to check he's not anywhere on the lid, just because he was climbing around the top yesterday. So this is kind of how it looks like, kind of in there. The door of these do open as well. These are my favourite things to keep reptiles or amphibians or any kind of creature that I keep. I like to keep them in here unless they're fairy. But I haven't seen people actually keeping various small animals, like little hamsters and things in the massive ones. But yeah, I definitely recommend these to anyone who is looking to keep any type of exotic animal. So what I'm going to basically do is take out all of the greens. There's also these bits of wood in here, so I can start by taking those out. I'm just going to check them all over, make sure that baby snail isn't on any of those, because he could be anywhere. It took me so long to try and find him the other day. I'll take out the greens nice and carefully, because if he was to be kind of attached to any of this, he could very easily be crushed. You can see he's done a poo here. He's eaten all of that at the top, which is really good. It's nice to see that he is eating. He obviously did make his way back down. There's a few chews there and some chewing going on around the bottom, but I can't see him on there. That's where he was last time I did see him, so I'll put that just there. I'm just going to carry on going through until I find him. I'm checking everything as I take it out. I'm not going to throw anything away until I have 100% found him. Yesterday when I went through and took everything out, he was buried underneath the dirt. Now hopefully after today I won't have to keep doing this every day, but it's just currently where he didn't have the mat stat and the correct temperature. I just want to keep checking that he's okay, because if he has passed away, obviously there's no need for me to keep feeding him, and it would be a waste of time and food and resources. So just need to keep monitoring him. After his setup is complete, I probably do this maybe once at a push, twice a week, just to make sure he's thriving, but hopefully he should kind of naturally come out. The thing with African land snails is they like to sleep a lot, so it's common to not see them move for quite a few days. Now I got down to the bottom, I've taken out all the greenery, and I still haven't found him, which suggests that he may have buried himself in the dirt. As you can see, there's really not enough dirt in here, hence why I've got some more topsoil to go in there. I will continue to leave this soil in here just because it will contain some good nutrients. This is exactly why I don't throw away things, because I've just been sifting through this one tiny bit at a time, trying to find him in the dirt, which is where he was yesterday. I look over and I find him tucked away in there, and he's awake, he's fine. So although slight waste of time, I'm so glad that I did leave that just over there and didn't throw it out, even though I checked over it. Something I'm definitely learning with baby snail is that he is so good at hiding. So I'm now going to put this old dirt back in there and the new dirt, so he'll hopefully have more space to burrow and hide, and that's why I won't need to put quite so much greenery in there, because it's kind of making up for the lack of space with greenery. And I'll probably leave him to it after that and stop digging around all the time. With the dirt, I'm going to quickly wash my hands, and then I'm going to be putting the heat mat down at the back of this here and threading the cables out. I then will also need, so this is a mat stat, so it's like a thermostat. So on this end there is this little thermometer that goes down into it, and it just makes sure the temperature stays right. So I can set it to the correct temperature on here, and then it will heat up the mat all the time that it's below the temperature it's set at, and as soon as it gets the right temperature it will just maintain it. If it gets too hot it will turn the mat off, so you don't have to worry about overheating and cooking your snail, or it getting too cold and the mat just not working. Okay, so this is the mat stat, which can be attached to the back of the vivarium. I've put the heat mat here on the inside, and the cable comes up and out the hole because there's like lovely ridges down the back. And then I've put the thermostat sensor here, which just goes up and just folds under there, and that will come out too. So when I take these things off the lid, you'll see that I can pull this across to open it, put the lid on, and then I can clip it shut without the wires getting in the way. If I was to move this one, a long one, which I'll probably try and do, it'll mean that I can slide that over just the one hole rather than just having that hole open. I don't think he'd fit through it, but just in case baby snail does, I'm just going to be on the safe side. So that just means now I can put this lid on like so, clip it down on the sides, and then I can slide this so that it covers the hole that I want it to cover, and that's nice and neat there. Then the cables just need to be readjusted. I need to set the temperature, which needs to be around, well, I'd say about 25, so I'm going to put it to 26 just because it's going to take a little while for it to get through the polystyrene. Some people do say that TERRAs aren't any good with heat mats unless you put them underneath, which obviously it does kind of cause the humidity to rise. It's not too much of an issue, I don't find, because I do spray it down very often, but a lot of people just don't like putting it underneath, and it depends what surface it's on. So my one at school is underneath, but if you can put it on the back, it is better. This is kind of the setup we have for our Moorish gecko. But on the back, some heat granted does come out this side and it goes outside the glass, but after a good kind of 12 hours this rock here will have completely heated up, and then it will just be a continuous heat cycle. So although polystyrene is an insulator and it will hold the heat in, it doesn't stop it from warming up, and eventually that heat will start to come out. So as I said, these wires are a little bit confusing because they were for a different setup, so I'm just going to change how they are, and then I can plug that in and it'll be ready to go. Eventually we'll stick this thermostat to the back, but for now I'm just leaving it loose just because he's going to be coming around different houses and different places with me depending where I am, until he's a bit bigger and I can trust that he will be okay. Will you be okay? Will you, Mr. Snail? Look at you, you've grown. You will be. You've grown. He'll be about the size of your average kind of garden snail within the next kind of month or so. And from the sides you can see that there is like 5 times his height, which is good. But to add to it, you can add a bit of live moss. And this also helps with keeping things nice and humid. So shall I just sit down to do this? So just adding a nice little pile, and then it gives him kind of other choices of things he can sleep in if he wants to sleep in moss, but also it will help with the humidity. Then I'm going to put the sticks in and then some of the greens. I've got some cuttle bones in there for him as well. Here he is. See, in the same like reference of my fingernail. He seems to really like this one piece of green. So he's done lots of nibbling around and some poos. So I'll probably put this piece back in just because it will be familiar to him. And hopefully he'll enjoy it because I put it up against the backing, so he should feel the warmth as well. Hello, you're so cute. For anyone who may be wondering how his size compares to the tank, this is the size of the tank, which is the smallest of the TERRA vivariums. This is how big he is. So he's got a lot of space. The thing with having a lot of space is it does mean that it can be harder to find the food, and baby snails just basically eat and sleep, and that's all they do. To be fair, that's what adult snails do as well, but it's just so important for them to be able to eat. So that's why I'm covering the floor with greens. I'm not putting as much in as I had done before, but just so that wherever he is, he can have a little snack. And I may put this other long one up the other side so that if he does crawl across, he can find food really easily. The cucumber, and most snails do enjoy cucumber. It's really not very high in nutrients, which is why at this age you want to be just giving them a different variety of lettuce leaves. The easiest way to do this is just to get one of the salad packs because that just has loads of different ones in it. But he's going to be absolutely fine, so he's there still. I think that's kind of how I'll leave it. I'll put these bits in the bin. I think I'll still offer him this broccoli, but I don't think he's interested in it at all. But he's got some potato in there, he's got some things to climb on. There is the cuttle bones down there, but I am going to hopefully get him a whole bigger one at some point. but at the moment I've had to put my spare one in with the big, like the new rescue snails, which I'll show you in a second. So yes, here is baby snails set up. He ideally would have a thermometer in there. I just don't have a thermometer at the moment. I'm going to give this glass a clean actually, because it's got a little bit dirty, and then I'll show you the other snails. And I also forgot to mention that it is also good to have a temperature gauge, which also has a humidify hydrometer kind of thing on it, so that you can also tell how humid it is. He's still on his little leaf, although he's going for a bit of an explore. That's had a nice spray, and I've cleaned the door somewhat so it's a bit easier to see, but in that little hide. So he's basically got, just to recap, soil that's like 4 or 5 times his depth, actually a lot more than his depth at the moment. He's got a variety of food on the bottom. He's got some wood and stuff to climb up and a pot to hide in. Obviously he's got lots of food, and he's in a nice little secure house that he's not going to be able to escape out of. He now is plugged in, so you can see that the power is on and the heat is on. So I just quickly turned it up to 28 just to kind of get it going, and then later this afternoon I'll turn it back down to more like 26, just while that heat's coming through the... I can't feel anything on the back yet heat-wise. Oh no, I can feel a little bit back there. It is only a small heat mat, you can definitely get bigger ones. But as I said, I've literally had to just use things I already had and kind of put this together for him, and hopefully he will be happy in it. So that is the baby snail's new house, which is the smallest nano vivarium terrarium, which is made by TERRA. So now Big Bear, I need to do my other snails. Yes I do. Literally can't get over how big this bear is. The biggest snails, these are the snails which will be going into the vivarium that I set up in my room. Bigger snails are definitely more messy, as you can see, and if I have, well, when I put them in the glass vivarium, they were gonna have to be constantly like just wiped down. Definitely easier to do it in one of those than in here, I find, just because the door opens. You can see that overnight, I mean, I sorted this all out yesterday, but they've kind of eaten a lot of the cuttle bone. Had to go on that potato. Still don't look like they were very interested in the broccoli. They've had a nice little nibble on here, which is up high, so they've obviously had to go up and find that food. There's 2 of them. No, 2 or 1, yeah. There's 2 of them down here. Looks like this guy was just about to nibble on that. 1 over there and 1 under the cuttlefish. So I'm just going to clear them out a little bit. Check they're okay. Take out any food which may be going mouldy. It's still really nice and moist in here, which is such a benefit of keeping them in a tub like this, because they do keep really moist. I'm going to be going back and looking at my other 3 snails, Cecil, George and Jake, who are at school, and seeing how they've done over the weekend and see how their moisture has changed since I sprayed them down on Friday. I can see that they are doing some poo, so that's always good to see. At least their digestion is working. So hopefully by next week they should all be in the TERRA houses. I also need names for these 4 snails, so I've got 2 of these darker coloured ones, which are so gorgeous. You gonna come and say hello? Those little bugs are just there to keep the soil clean. Little cleanup crew. So I've got 2 of these brown ones, and then 2 of the lighter coloured ones. So I'm definitely in need of some name ideas. Come on, say hello. Don't be rude, I can see your eyes. I see them. There they are. Come on, say hello. Say hello. Hello, how you doing? How you doing? You enjoying your new house? Is it nice? You finding lots of things to eat in here, huh? These ones are definitely a lot more scared of being handled. Cecil, Jake and George, fine, they're absolutely fine. They they don't really care, they just get on with it. They're held by a lot of children, whereas these ones kind of very jumpy. And if I put my hand near this one, he'll probably hide away. She says, as he then doesn't hide. But yes, I see I touch him and he's hidden. I'm just going to give him a bit of clean, put my phone on charge, and then that'll probably be all of my snailing that I'm going to do today. So I think I'll say goodbye here. Thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions, comments, or any names for the snails, please leave them down below. If it's sunny where you are, I hope you enjoy the shade, and we'll see you next time. Bye!